Welcome to Start Lines and Swag Bags, presented by the Flying Pig Project. The use of this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and should not be considered as running or health advice. This podcast is not intended to replace any professional medical advice. Thank you for your support.
Hello and welcome to this Sunday's episode of Start Lines and Swag Bags, and the episode that made me do a little bit of an ugly cry. I'll explain. For those of you watching, you may be thinking, Rachel, that's not your typical background. And it's not. Normally I'm in that very comfy gray chair with Morty sitting on my lap. And I'll explain after the guest segment why I have this different background. But first, let's talk about Ben. He's the episode that dropped on Tuesday. I was very excited to do that because it's always fun to relive fun times in your past, like my good old bowling days, because maybe you all didn't know I was a bowler in a prior life. You didn't know I had 175 average. Maybe you didn't know my highest game ever was 256. And maybe you don't care. That's fine. But I did hold off on airing that episode because Ben was doing this year both Chicago and then New York. And I said I was not going to put the episode up until he had completed both. And unfortunately, in the time, I think it was between Chicago and New York when we went to start looking at his episode, I realized that I had deleted his entire video track. I had his audio, but I had no video. So we did go ahead with it anyway. So it is a video missing episode. I don't know how else to say that, but I really think it was a good one. And I think truly the one thing I miss about not having the video is when I asked him what his favorite race was, and he answered the Wisconsin Marathon. You can imagine what my face turned into if you know me, because I've known about that race for many, many years. I know people involved in it. And this past May, I was a volunteer on both Friday and Saturday at the race, as I plan to do again this year. And it's not that I'm surprised he said it, not at all, but it kind of caught me off guard. All right. So now, last week I talked about Garmin versus Green Bay. And there's going to be no special drum roll, no big, surprise announcement on this one. It's Green Bay. I mean, if any of you thought Garmin, even with the Flying Monkeys, was going to take that, you were very disillusioned. And you know that. So Green Bay does move ahead. But tonight there is no actual comparison of races. Because during the week, I was thinking, who can I bring on as a guest to help me break the news to you all that it's Green Bay? I couldn't get anybody. So I pivoted to another idea I had, and I'm not even going to talk about it further. I'm literally just going to roll it out. I do have comments to make at the end, but let me present the supporter episode. Welcome to this episode of Start Line, Swag Bags, and Bloopers, where everything goes wrong. I'm just kidding. All right. So here are my guests for this evening. I have Tom, I have Jen, I have Sebastian, and we're going to be talking about providing support and or volunteering to our wonderful runners who could be our family, our friends, and others. So the very first question that I'm going to ask, and Tom, you're on camera the whole time so that, just so you know. The first thing they're going to share with me, they're a little mad because I forgot to hit record the first time.
What are we on the
so we're
fifth
doing this
take
again.
now? Oh.
All right, Tom.
What?
Who do you cheer for besides all of us? But why do I have you here as the OG cheerer?
So my runner is Heather Hayes, and I've been doing this for about 7 years now. She started running in late 2016, early 2017, when she went to her first race I said, okay, fine, I'll come out and support you, whatever, but don't get used to this. And now we're 7 years in, and we're still going strong with me holding backpacks. So
What do you remember what race that was?
it was, yes, I do. It was in Bussy Woods. It was an egg drop. It was like the egg drop 5K or something like that.
The eggshell shuffle?
That, yes, that's the one.
Yeah, they don't have that
And
anymore.
no, they don't. But it was a fun, it was a fun time. And after the race, a bunch of, they dropped a whole bunch of eggs and kids ran out to watch. But she came in fourth. I remember she came in fourth in her age group. And it was like, oh, your first race back, and it would have been great if you hit third, but it didn't matter at that point because she was back, she was happy, and we went from there.
Nice. All right, Jen, we will go to you now. Who is your runner?
Yeah, Viana Brush is my runner, my spouse, and she just started a little over 2 years ago. So when she first started, it was not about me not supporting. I was all in. It was just don't ever ask me to run with you, and you can run as long as you want.
I have come to love that attitude. That's been my attitude since the F3 debacle, which we don't need to go into. All right, Sebastian, who are your people?
My people are my parents, my mom and dad, who are also in the fast track racing team, Pilar Wiener and Mario Ramirez. Initially, it was the other way around since I was the one that was racing a lot. But now that we're both racing, we kind of support each other. Whenever they're running and I'm not, I support them. Or when they're running, I'm running and they are not, they support me. Or I also support other fast track members who I'm not related to but want to see them race anyway.
And I have to do a really quick shout out. When you do run with your parents, it's very tricky because you're very fast. Very fast. And they're not as fast. We're just going to say that. And I know sometimes when you are very fast, it's not necessarily easy to drop back to that easier pace. But I love how much they tell me that you do run with them to support them in that way.
Yeah, because it's always good to have them, they also have goals that they want to achieve with running, so it's good to help them to make sure that they're also achieving them in whatever way possible. Just cheering them on to the sides or whatever it is, I'm there for it.
Nice. All right, our first question is, Tom, why do you do this?
Because Heather wakes me up at 4 in the morning and tells me to get dressed and drive her to the race. But also, no. Yeah, no. For me, it's something. I'm somebody that likes to. First of all, I like to support other people. So, it's not just her, but going out there and cheering on anybody that I might see, anybody who's wearing the singlets or anybody that I may have seen from others. That for me is fun, but also it allows me just to go exploring. I'm somebody that will, if anybody knows me, I'll go wandering off for 30 minutes and do my own thing and see, oh, look, there's a weird store over here. So, how often am I going to go and grab coffee at a little cafe in Lake Zurich on a Saturday morning, or try scones in Flossmoor on a Sunday? It doesn't happen. So for me, it's really, I know I'm supporting, but it's also a little selfish because I'm like, well, if she's going to do it, I'm going to have some fun too.
Okay, so Jen, what's your why?
Yeah, why I support? I'm a big believer of mental and physical health. I think it's important for anybody to be able to step away from their day, whether it's stress, whether it's kids, whether it's spouses, and be able to, go and find something that's in it for themselves, to be able to help. Again, mental and physical health, and that kind of benefits myself as well, right? Like I would never tell my runner to stop running because that would be a stress on everybody.
That's right. All right, Sebastian, what's your why?
My why is because I feel like all these racing events are full of positive energy and vibes. I feel that like whenever you're at like any race, whether it's a 5K marathon, everyone is just like cheering you on, like whether they're just there to support one runner or someone that's volunteering. They're always there to support you throughout the whole way and make that experience really good, especially volunteering, which is one of the very important things to make a race memorable, is the type of race management and help that it gets to be like to help the runners get that kind of incredible experience they get.
So I didn't look at it like that before, and I'm going to get to give my answer to this one real quick. As you know, why do I do it? So in February, I did have a horrible time in my last race, and then, as we all know, I broke my foot in May, and I have literally not made it back to do a race since. I have, however, started spectating at many races and volunteering at many races, and I love seeing the behind the scenes. I love seeing how it all comes together. And I'm not one that likes being shouted at, you go, you're almost there. That's a lie. You're never almost there. But there are people who actually need that, and it helps them and it fuels them, and I love being able to do that. Tom, the next question, or the last question, because you have two questions.
Okay.
So you told me your why, but what do you get out of it personally?
A few things. So first of all, there's just the overall positive, the positive vibes, cheering people on during the race. That for me is kind of fun. Some people may notice in some of my race photos I don't wear my wedding ring because it's always on my wristwatch, because I'm always doing, wherever I'm at the mile 3 at the end at the finish line, wherever. So that's something. It's a good day. It's a good way to start the day, especially on a weekend. You have a long week. Get out there and cheer for some people. I go into what you said. One of the things I do really like seeing how things are set up and how clockwork it is with blow up the start line, get the timing pads out, and all that kind of stuff. There are frequently times where I'll just start wandering off. Others sitting in the corral getting stretching and all that, and I just wander off to see, hey, wait a minute, what are they doing with the traffic signs or with the traffic stuff?
All right, Jen, what do you get out of it?
Well, besides the fact that she's got great mental health and physical health, which again benefits us all, I would say I'm a coach at heart. So like when people are hitting milestones or being able to run longer than they've run, hitting PRs, I love watching the excitement on people. It gives me a high, right? Like being able to support that and clap to Tom's point over and over again. But like when you see that look in their eye when they've done that, that's pretty awesome to watch.
I have to agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Sebastian,
Yeah.
or Seabass, as we like to call you.
Either one is fine.
What do you think you get out of the supportive and the volunteering role?
I get a really like positive and like really excited experience to see people from like a lot of people just having fun out there. People that are just not just like, oh, you see the top guys, oh, that's all I came to see, I'm out. No, it's being there to see everyone just like having fun, like enjoying the run. Sometimes you get a really funny costume during that or something, a fun participant having fun. That kind of like positive energy gives you a positive energy as well. And I think that makes you just like wanting, like just feeling like you're in a party, except it's at 7 a.m, which parties never take place at.
See, that's only funny because Dan and I were recently talking about the 4 on the 4th and how we're all eating hot dogs at like 8:30 in the morning, which is not natural. All right, I do have one last question for you that I didn't tell you about, but I'm going to tell you that, what I get out of it, As someone who's been running with Fast Track for many, many years, this past year, either going purely as a spectator or if I'm the photographer, um, I I love watching all of you guys run, and I didn't see that all those years because I was always in the back somewhere, and everybody was always done and cooling down. But I love the energy, like you said, of everybody coming through, and especially at the 4 on the 4th. I'm going to point that out specifically because we had a runner who ran in, I think, 8 to 10 different people up along that hill. And I mean, to me, that's literally what it's all about. Like that type of support. All right. So the last question, surprise. Tom, what
Yeah.
was what's your favorite race that you ever did support or volunteer at?
My favorite race to support?
Yeah,
Oh boy. All right. Can I give two? I'm going to give
of
two.
course.
Yeah, it's my podcast now. I'm going to give two. First one is anytime you can spectate Grand Rapids, anything in Grand Rapids, that is a fun race to watch. They start, but that race is laid out so perfectly that it's like a half-mile walk in any direction, and you can see them at key points. So I would say that one. Plus, they have a really cool bike and scooter system in Grand Rapids. So if anybody ever sees a 260-pound man riding a scooter going wee down downtown Grand Rapids, right here. The other one I would say is Hidden Gem. That is a great spectator race. There is an area where they start the race. You can get within in a 1 block area, and you can see your runner go through mile 3, mile 5, mile 8, and all you have to do is just stand there and just do a circle, and you can just see everything you want. So I would say, and then it's a 1/4 mile right to the finish. So those two races, and there's a really great coffee spot there. There's a really great coffee shop there that, they serve some really good fair trade organic stuff. So I will say that Hidden Gem and Grand Rapids are just chef's kiss when it comes to spectators.
All right. Jen, what is your favorite one? Support, volunteer, spectate?
I'm gonna give you two as well, just because I can't let Tom one up me. But first of all, Halloween Hustle, because I love Halloween, like huge Halloween fan, but I love that everybody runs or wears something different. Like that's so much fun. I actually got mad at the group this last year because they did not do as well as they should have expected in their costumes. They ran great, but their costumes were very subpar. And then I got to spectate and cheer on at the Chicago Marathon this year, and I will say, like, I just think that Chicago does a very good job of the app setting everything up so that we can go to multiple spots, easy to jump on and off the L. And even though it was chaos, it was still so much fun, and people just brought Chicago to life for sure.
Yeah, that's a great one too.
All right, Sebastian, your favorite, now you're not running, that you're spectating or volunteering or supporting.
All right.
Oh, apparently you have to do two.
Yeah, I'm gonna do one that I volunteered and one that I spectated to make it different. So for volunteering, I have to agree with Jen. Chicago Marathon is like one of the best volunteering experiences. It's one thing to like also spectate, go to different points, but it's another thing when you have a group and like an aid station like for water and then just have a lot of fun. Like seeing people like run, like helping them out, handing them out like water or bananas or whatever. Like our group in particular, were really supportive, really full of energy, and it was just awesome being with them throughout that whole like marathon. Like from first to last runner, it was really a blast. And then one that I actually had fun as a spectator was the Milwaukee Lakefront Marathon because I helped out that time I helped out, like we were spectating for one of our fast track runners, and we had a lot of fun with that, trying to meet up at a point to make sure we saw her run at a specific point in the race. And then my favorite part about it is the signs we made. Everyone had like, go runner, like you can do this. And my sign, that that course had a bridge that you had to run across twice, and it's pretty hilly. So my sign said, with that bridge drawn in there, I just asked, "How's the bridge?" And everyone had mixed reactions. There weren't any. There might have been some cursing, but I would I would just say I had a lot of fun watching that race.
Well, I mean, if there isn't a little cursing, is it really a race?
I mean, you gotta have it. It's part of
That's true,
it's
but
part of the
like
culture.
in particular, like that part of it, it's like asking people how was Heartbreak Hill at Boston. People are gonna give you similar responses.
Oh my gosh. All right, that cracked me up. All right. So I'm going to thank you for two things. One, I'm thanking three things. A, thank you so much for taking time to come on the pod, have this discussion with me. That's number one. Number two, thank you so much for having the patience of the fact that I didn't hit record, because so far that hasn't scared anybody off, and so that's good. And
yet
number
you'd
three,
think you'd learn from that.
I know.
Yeah.
No. And then number three, when I thought of doing a little segment on support help and people who just breathe it, you three came to mind. And so for all of Fast Track and any other runner, and for Heather and Viana and Mom and Dad, thank you so much for everything you do, because your runners, me, other people, we can't do it without the help of other people. So I thank you very much.
Well, we are all amazing, so you are quite welcome.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. In hindsight, not really sure I'm going to call it the supporter episode, because that's kind of weird. But I have to tell you that when I was doing the editing of that episode, well, there's a couple funny things. First of all, so Marty, of course, is my wonderful editor, and I was reading my texts after I had recorded that episode, and uploaded all the tracks to our software, and I sent him a picture, and he was like, "Oh, what's that?" And I made some comment about how don't worry, I'm going to do the editing on this one, even though it's 4 people. And he made a comment somewhat like, "I could tell you how to do it, but then you wouldn't need me." And I was like, no, absolutely not. I will figure this out all on my own. And it took me probably all day today to get it all done. So that's why I'm in the seat I am, because I'm still here from editing that episode. But, why did that episode, I got to check my notes for a second here. Hold, please. If you're listening, I'm not cutting this out. I'm just checking my notes. All right. There's a couple things I want to point out about that actual guest recording. One, I did actually not hit record the first time, and we were like 6 minutes into it before I realized it, and I had to start all over. Keep in mind, I had advertised this to the 3 of them as being like a 5-minute segment, which it wasn't. The reason that, if you were watching the video, the reason that Jen's background changed is because midway through we were having issues and she had to literally move locations. I mean, this is really one that if you can watch the video, please do that. But why did this one cause me to do the ugly cry? So after I got done editing it, or editing any episode, I watch it probably 2 or 3 times before I release it, because I want to make sure I did the best I could. I know on this one the volume was a little off, and Jen, when she moved, she was holding her camera, so her segments may give you a bad case of the shakes. But as I was listening to it back, probably the 2nd or 3rd time, I realized that when I had decided to do a podcast, I absolutely was going to be interviewing people, and that really was part of why I wanted to do it. But that episode, to have those 3 people, and we're all talking about how, as a community, we support, we volunteer, and it's really through us, the supporters, the volunteers, that other people are allowed to follow their dreams of maybe a PR, maybe a first marathon, maybe coming back from an injury. But it's a reminder that we don't go through any of this alone. And that, I think, it gave me the ugly cry, because that little segment, that 18-minute segment, probably was what would have, in my mind, been the culmination of me creating a podcast. And that episode meant so much to me. The people in it, what they said, and the fact that we're only 7-8 weeks into this podcast, and where, my editor, Marty, where the 2 of us can go from here and what we can create can only be described as amazing. So that's really all I have for you on this Sunday. Tuesday, I am very happy to announce that I have, he is known on Instagram as, again, a runner, but I get to call him my teammate and my friend, Dan O from Fast Track. He will be on Tuesday night, and we will be discussing why we have things that we love that are completely useless. So take that with you into your week. As always, thank you so much for your time. Be safe. Peace out. And thank you so much for listening. And let's see if I can get the balloons to go. I don't know. We're going to get balloons tonight? There we go. There you go. Have a good week, everybody.